Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that when an evil befalls us, it is due to what our own hands have earned. Therefore, in our day-to-day life, when things go wrong in our lives, how do we decide whether it is due to our sinfulness or that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us and therefore He sends a trial upon us? So the punishments are what happen to people in return of their evil deeds. Trials are tests which are sent to try people, and they may be tested by good things or bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whatever of good reaches you is from Allah, but whatever of evil befalls you is from yourself. If something negative happens to you, seek the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the condition of your heart will determine whether it was a punishment or not. If your heart is made distant from Allah because of something that happened to you, that is a punishment. And if your heart becomes closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a result of something that happened to you, it was the biggest blessings. Some people get a lot of money, but they forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a punishment because it was something that looked positive, but it drove you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It took you to the clubs, you get involved in haram things, so it's a punishment, it's not a blessing. So if something looks good, it's not a blessing. Similarly, if something that is looking so bad, you lost your job, someone passed away, you suffer from loss, and if it made you come for salah, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a blessing. So my beautiful family, if you don't do your salah on time, you are not worshipping Allah the Almighty. You are far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get engaged in sin and so on. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you enough to make you realize that it's only in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people get frustrated and start questioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that why are you doing this to me? Why me? So it is not right. You should be patient and think that whatever happens, it happens by the wills of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah tests those whom He loves. If you are patient, you will be rewarded. But if you react angrily, then you will earn the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So simply you can understand that whatever brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are being tested and it's a blessing. And whatever gets you far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the punishment.